It's now time for Trivia Tracks with yours truly, Price Robertson. Brought to you by ProMed Ambulance Services. Care you can count on. And Beth Smith at Edward Jones. Edward Jones, making sense of investing, member SIPC. It was big news in the wrestling world 30 years ago. By 1994, the WWF was already a well-established entity in the business. However, its chairman Vince McMahon would find himself accused of supplying illegal anabolic steroids to his wrestlers. In 1991, George Zahorian, a Pennsylvania doctor who worked as a ringside doctor for the WWF, had been convicted of illegally supplying anabolic steroids. At his trial, it was revealed that Zahorian had supplied steroids to the WWF and their wrestlers, specifically to Vince McMahon's office at Titan Towers. Vince's wife Linda had sent a memo 2 years earlier advising that Zahorian should not be used by the company prior to his arrest and trial on the grounds of illicit steroids distribution. In 1992, prior to being indicted, Vince McMahon closed down the ill-fated World Bodybuilding Federation. The government brought 6 charges against McMahon. However, 3 of the 6 were thrown out of court before the full trial, which was due to start in June 1994 but was delayed until the following month. Ted Turner, owner of rival WCW, suggested that he would try to get CNN to cover the trial for Turner Broadcasting System. The case was heard by Judge Jacob Mishler. The prosecution alleged that McMahon was in charge of distribution of illegal steroids to WWF wrestlers, 11 of whom, including Hulk Hogan, were called to testify by prosecution. No other wrestlers called the stand attested that McMahon had supplied them with steroids apart from Nails. That's Nailz, whose real name is Kevin Wackles, and who claimed that McMahon had pressured him into taking steroids to make him bigger. However, McMahon's defense attorney argued that Nailz was a hostile witness as he had been fired from the company and was disgruntled and looking for revenge. Nailz contradicted himself during his testimony by stating that he had no animosity towards McMahon, but later answered that he hated McMahon. McMahon's legal team did not enter defense, but his lawyer stated that he had only had one discussion with Zahorian about steroids, and that was over McMahon's concerns about the health of his wrestlers. Judge Mishler dismissed the distribution charges on the grounds that the prosecution had provided insufficient evidence that they occurred within the court's jurisdiction. The jury deliberated for 16 hours on the conspiracy charge before pronouncing a not guilty verdict. McMahon stated that he had used steroids, but before they became illegal in 1991 under the Controlled Substances Act. McMahon declared his company drug-free, and the WWF brought in a tough independent drugs testing policy afterward. Any WWF wrestler caught with drugs would be fired, as occurred a year later when Crush was arrested for being in possession of steroids and marijuana in Hawaii. He was fired by the WWF as a result, in accordance with McMahon's due policy. George Zahorian was sentenced to 3 years in prison after his conviction. By 2010, he had resumed practicing medicine in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. In 2003, the trial was used as part of an angle between Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon, which culminated in a match between the two at WrestleMania 29 that was won by Hogan. During Linda McMahon's 2010 U.S. Senate run, the steroid trial was used by her political opponents to attack her. A lawyer representing WWE stated that she was unrelated to the scandal. The steroid trials were the focus of an episode of Vice TV's Dark Side of the Ring in 2021. That same year, it was reported that a television series adaptation of McMahon's life was in development by WWE Studios and Blumhouse Television. Titled The United States of America vs. Vince McMahon, the series, which is still in development as of late, will be a fictionalized version of the court case. Till next time, I'm Price Robertson. Amazed by today's trivia? Then join me for Trivia Tracks weekdays at 6:45 on Everybody's Country Y95.